Welcome back to Engage Week, our live stream where we come together, we connect, and we talk about all of the amazing things God is doing right here at NVOMI. My name is Tidra.
And I'm Sherelle.
We have some amazing guests here as well. We're all at the
Excited.
table.
I'm Tanisha.
I'm James.
I'm Avery.
And I'm JC.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are super excited for this dialogue tonight. We're going to be talking about the feast. But first, we want to give an honor to God. Without God, none of this would be possible. None of these amazing services we have. His Spirit is just allowing us to go forth and go forward. So we give all glory, all honor to God. We would also like to honor our amazing apostles. Big honor to you guys. Thank you for being shepherds after God's own heart. We love you, Chief Apostle Sean and Apostle Prophetess Kadesh. So let's get started. But first, make sure you like, click tag, share, subscribe, whatever you have to do because you don't want to miss anything. So we are here at the table.
At the table.
Again. I love it. You can never get tired of the table, right? We are staying on feasting. So we've been feasting since January. That's our theme that was introduced to us in January. So the first question, I want to start the night out with a question. What does feasting mean to you, Ms. Tanisha?
I get to go first. So when we started talking about the feast going into the new year, you know, you always have an idea of feast, like I'm eating, but I wanted to know, you know, we like to look up definitions, so I wanted to look it up in Hebrew, and the word moed means feast in Hebrew, but it also means appointed time or set feast, but it also can mean witness or everlasting. So I think when I take it into that context, I think about the fact that if I'm feasting and I'm in the presence of God, it creates a witness of his glory so that people will be called and come to God because I'm feasting in him, because the feast is really about being in the presence of God.
Yes. I would definitely agree. What this feast means to me is just seeing the manifestation of his glory. Like really living out the word that he spoke, that he said, and truly believing it, putting the faith behind it and watching it come to life. Like that's what it means to me.
I love that. That's good. That's good.
Feasting means to me that like a celebration of God's gifts. Just giving him all the praise and the glory, and just really reflecting on where I was to where I am now. Just appreciating every step that I made and the time that he took with me. That's what feasting has meant to me.
I love it.
Feasting to me is definitely increasing sustenance, increasing sustenance and substance, really, and what we're made of, and really allowing God to build us in this time, that as we're eating his word and as we're focusing on him, allowing him to increase who we are in him.
That's good.
That's good.
How do I follow all of that up?
That's good. That's some good stuff.
They already answered it. Y'all gave a mouthful, but just simply put, though, feasting is an elaborate and unusual meal, though. Usual meal. To me, feasting means going deeper. Just partaking in something good. That's just what feasting means to me, simply put.
I love it, Some amazing answers. You guys have already answered it all the way. But if I was to take it and put it in my own words, feasting to me is getting to a point in God where you realize I can never have enough of you. When you think about the feast, the table is filled with different dishes made different types of ways. You know, you may have one dish, but it's made 3 different types of ways, and you get to feast on it. And when we're at the table and we're speaking about feasting in this context, it reminds me of God. I can never have enough of you. It's reaching that point in God where I can get even more and even more and even more of you. And it's just overflow in him. And it's a beautiful feeling.
It is.
To be at the feast.
One thing that stood out to me that Avery said, quality. Lasting substance. Like what we're feasting on, it has to have substance. That we're a product of him. Good quality. Almost like quality insurance. You know, they always say, well, we're doing this for quality insurance. So that just stood out to me. And just following up on your question, Ms. Tidra, I also have a question.
Okay.
So everybody said, what does feasting mean to them? Mm-hmm. So what have everybody been feasting on? That's the question.
Yeah.
You want to go, JC? Go ahead. You got something in your belly. Lay it out. Yeah. Lay it out.
So I have been feasting on many different chapters in the Bible. But before I elaborate on it, though, when you spoke about quality, something just stuck out to me, and you was talking about the different dishes. As we read each chapter is a different dish in the Bible. So you might start with an appetizer, which is your prayer.
Come on.
And then you might dig into,
That's good.
You might dig into, Luke, James, John, for your entree, and then you might finish it up with dessert with a different chapter, or close it in prayer.
Right.
So, but what I have been feasting on, I've been feasting on quite a few. Just to simply elaborate though, before our feast though, I had to do this though. I'm rambling. I'm going on.
We at the table. Come on.
But, I had to think about this, and this might be a question that y'all can answer as well. But what do you do before you feast? This is what I had to ask myself. What does a cook do before they prepare the meal? And that's clean themselves.
Yeah.
So most of the time before I start feasting, I make sure that I clean myself.
Right.
I cleanse myself. So I was in 2 Corinthians. I was in Psalms. I was in John.
Yeah.
I've been everywhere. So
that's good. That's good. We have to cleanse ourselves before we come to the table. That is good. Yeah. That is a message in itself.
It really is. It's so layered because you think as you go throughout your day, you're picking up so much. You're picking up, different things that happen in your perception of it and your mindset.
Right.
And you don't want to approach God's word with that. So to clean yourself, to get in a place that's, okay, God, it's just me and you. I know what I saw today. I know what I was exposed to today. But right now I'm choosing to depart from all of that. I'm going to cleanse myself. And I love that. So prayer before the word is definitely essential.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I feel like release too. We can't hold all that in. It has to be a release. So he can pour. So he can give us more, as we were saying, more. So I'm feasting on that. That's the thing. What I've been feasting on every day, like he said, is so much. So since January to now, it's just been pieces that, okay, let's work on this. Let's work on this. Okay, let's go deeper here. So a different perspective and outlook, I would say, is what I've been feasting on from his word. Because like you said, you can read a scripture and it can say something then. But at the appointed time, the same scripture can mean something completely different. Yeah. So just being consistent and going deeper, not that surface. No more surface. Yeah. Like, we need meat. You need to go a little deeper. Like, we had our appetizer. We was teens, right? In a permanent place, we was, we're in our permanent. That was the beginning. That was like he said, the appetizer, the salad. It was good. Now let's go deeper. Let's go deeper.
To piggyback off of what you said, what I was saying and what I've been feasting on is definitely macro counting, which is like a term they use when they're talking about dieting and stuff. And you don't have to be trying just to lose weight to diet. People who are bodybuilding, people who are trying to gain more muscle, or even just cut fat, they count their macros, which is how much protein am I getting, how many carbs am I getting, how much fruits and vegetables am I getting. And depending on what you're trying to build in your life is how you're supposed to eat, right? Wow. And so what I've been feasting on is definitely a lot of the meat, trying to build, because a lot of times we can get caught up in the frills and the extra and like the fast food kind of stuff. Yeah. And definitely getting those proteins and those long lasting what they call complex carbohydrates that really help your body maintain that energy throughout the day is really what you're supposed to feast on. It's supposed to be the main bulk of your diet, right? So that's how we're supposed to read the word. And to JC's question, what does a chef do before they prepare the feast? One of the things they have to do is prepare the food, right? So they have to cut up the stuff. You can't put a whole tomato in a pan and expect to get a sauce out of it, right? You can't put a whole cucumber in a salad and expect people to eat it. You have to break it down, and so that's why even throughout these sermons, we take it. These sermons, the series have been step by step to get to the feast. It's been breaking down the food, the different parts of the food to give to us broken down, so you're not having to take a chunk out of a tomato when you're trying to eat, because it's easier to digest. Because you can't cook unless it's broken down first.
Yeah, right. That's good.
Let's go, Avery.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that was a good breakdown, man. Yeah, you broke that down. But one thing I've been feasting on is, like you said, JC, like being clean, like cleansing yourself. So like, whenever I come before God, I make sure, you know, I repent, ask for forgiveness, you know. Right. Yeah, so make sure that I'm righteous and I'm clean before I come to Him. Yeah. And just make sure that all my ducks are in a row and everything. And what I've been feasting on is John, the 1st chapter. Yeah, just about how, you know, he was testifying about Jesus and everything, and making sure that his disciples followed Jesus and whatnot. And I was just baffled about how, like, people just question everything about, like, John and Jesus. Like, just question everything. Like, what do you mean, like, you're not the Messiah and everything? And, well, tell us who you are and everything.
Yeah.
You know? It's just crazy how they just, like, were just, like, so aggressive with it and everything. Just didn't take the man's word for it. Like, they wanted to see all this proof and everything instead of just having faith and believing.
Having faith.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
But, yeah, that's what I've been feasting on.
That's good. Everybody said, you know, you never want to go last because the table's so full, so you really never want to go last because you're like, okay, what was I going to say? But I want to say a couple of things. But what I was going to initially say is that I'm feasting on consistency and application. So we've gotten a lot of meat, right? We've gotten a lot over the years.
Yeah.
We've gotten a lot of food from our apostles, from our leaders, just from MBOMI as a whole. And I keep thinking of things that we've been told, and I'm making sure that I'm applying them, even when it comes like down to the children. Like, okay, are you reminding them to read the word? So as a family, as a whole, we're feasting on consistency with reading our word and discussing the word and having our family meetings. And I believe that helps, you know, the house as a whole, MBOMI, because if a family, you know, is on one accord, then we come in as one accord. But I was thinking about what he was saying about digesting, and it was reminding me how when you go to a table and you're at a feast, there's all this food, right? There's all this food, but I know what I can take. I know what I can eat. But if I get, you know, too consumed with what's on the table, I might take food that's going to harm me, that I'm not supposed to eat. So, you know, it's really been about, okay, God, what am I supposed to be feasting on? What am I supposed to be eating? Because I don't necessarily have to eat everything that's at the table. I'm at the table. I don't have to eat like it's my last meal because it's an error of the feast. So I don't have to sit here and eat like I just got out of jail. Because, you know, I'm free. So I can slowly eat. I can slowly eat my food. I can eat what I want, and I can eat what God has ordained and put for me, and still celebrate you eating that, you know, double chocolate cake over there, but I might not be able to digest it.
Come on. I love that. I love that.
Wow.
It sounds to me like, I wrote this down quite a while ago, but it sounds like spiritual sickness when you intake the wrong portion. You have an abundance of something that's not good for you. That's just exactly what it sounded like when you were speaking that. I had to go back to my notes.
That's why we take notes. Good job.
Exactly.
We spoke about notes in our last.
Did.
Because you just eat so much and could, like you say, consume so much. So sometimes you have to go back and be reminded, like, oh wow, that did come forth. And you're right. It's a spiritual thing. This feast, yes, is natural. We eat it. We see the manifestation, but it's also spiritual growth, spiritual maturity. Like, you have to want it, like in the Bible, the milk, you know, like a baby want a milk. That's how you gotta want it. And if you want it, that's the thing. God will give it to you if you want it. You gotta be willing it, right? You gotta be willing it.
I want it.
I know.
I want it too. I want it too.
I got to have it.
That reminds me of the thing my mom started with, how we've been getting all this food, but what good is the food in the pantry if you're not using it, right? If you keep we have all this food in the pantry and the freezer that we're not using, but we keep going out and getting more food, then the food's just gonna sit there and it's gonna be unused and it's gonna be a waste. So why store up all this food if you're not gonna cook? Why get all these things and take all these words and sit in the house for so long if you're not going to use it? Why are you gonna take from the food bank if you're not gonna eat, if you're not gonna use it to grow, if you're not gonna use it to expand? Like, what's the point? It's the waste of the food.
Yeah. We don't want to be wasteful in this era, because Apostle spoke. We're in error. We ain't trying to waste nothing.
Right.
Exactly.
Speaking of, right? Great Apostle. She told us March we had completion.
Yeah.
We had new beginnings, and we had birth. March 7th, March 8th, March 9th. Yes. If you don't believe me, watch this video as Apostle pour out and just tell us, like, we can have it.
Yeah.
God said we can have it. We can have it. Watch the video.
Because if you're going with God, it's always going to be a win. So she's like, I need you to tell me so that I can tell my people that when this decree comes into effect, there's a new decree. Fight back. Fight back. So the Bible says that they get a decree, and what I love is, get your Bibles back out. Back at Esther 9. Go back Esther 9. Because what I want you guys to catch is the month that we are in. I need you to understand that everything that God is getting ready to release to you is happening this month. Go with me back to Esther chapter 9. Go with me back to Esther chapter 9. Hey, go with me back to Esther chapter 9. And I need you to go up to verse 16. And it says, Esther 9 verse 16, meanwhile, the other Jews throughout the king's provinces had gathered together to defend their lives. They gained relief from all their enemies, killing 75,000 of those who hated them. But they did not take any plunder because they don't want that. God's got something better. This was done throughout the provinces. Somebody say on March 7th. And on March 8th, they rested, celebrating their victory with a day of feasting and gladness. The Jews at Susa, see, God's got so many of us. See, that was a different type of Jew that lived in a different province. But now we are in the province of Susa. And now Susa Jews killed their enemies on March 7th and again on March 8th. Then they rested on March 9th. Looks like March is about to be a marching in. Come on, I need you to look at your neighbor and say, March is about to be a marching in.
Now that was a lot. Yeah. Now that was a lot to chew on. Marching into March. Yes. What was your takeaways from that, Sherelle?
Listen, you just got to have faith. Yeah. Go forth and step out and use what you got. Like they said, Esther, come on. Like use this position to your advantage. So sometimes when God give it to us, we got to use it. We can't just place it down. We have to use it. Put it in perspective, because 9 times out of 10 it's not even for us. It's to be in a position for somebody else. So that's what I took at it. Like, we gotta go forth. Don't just sit on it. March into March. You have to march into March.
Yeah, and you said something so key. It takes faith. When God tells you that he's going to do a thing, really, do you believe that he's going to do a thing? Because that is going to be, it's like the fuel to your feet. Yeah. That's how you're going to go. Because in the natural, if you're just steady looking at the natural, you're going to sit on it. You're not, we just talked about this, you're going to store up on all this stuff, but you're not going to use it. When it comes time for application, your faith, you don't want your faith to fail you.
Right. Are you really going to go for it? Are you really going to do it? Are you going to
go for it?
Yeah.
And that reminds me of, you know, like you say with marching forward, you also spring forward.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you spring forward into what God wants you to do. And it's easier to say you have faith than actually have faith.
Yeah.
You know, whenever you're put to the test, it's really hard to have that faith.
Yeah.
Like, seriously. Like, there's been plenty of times I said, oh, yeah, I got faith. And then when that test comes, it's just like, oh, man, I start worrying and everything. Yeah. It's like, okay, why are you worrying if you're praying?
Yeah.
You can't worry and pray.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta have faith. You gotta know that God's gonna take care of it, and you just leave it up to God.
Amen.
Yeah. And with Apostle K, whenever she was just talking about that, that just really registered with me. Yeah.
I think some people mistake faith for audacity, right? So the way Esther walked up, if it had been anybody else in the temple or any of the king's other, like the king's wife before Esther, she wouldn't have gotten the rod like Esther did, because remember, the queen wasn't allowed to just go talk to the king, right? He had to give her permission, and then if she did, then she would be killed if she didn't get the rod, right? So she had the favor and she had the faith to allow that God let the king give her the rod and allowed her to come forth and do what she needed to do. Because Haman wasn't just any other regular guy, right? He was a higher up in the king's ear. He was a advisor, his right-hand man.
Yeah.
So to allow for Esther to be able to influence the king like that, to go against his right-hand man, who was the one who convinced him to write the decree, is just a showing of her faith and the favor on her life, and how we're supposed to have faith and favor with the authority in our lives, and like the government and stuff like that. Just because they're the government doesn't mean that God doesn't have influence on them.
Yeah, that's good. Influence, that's good.
Yeah, that was good. I like what you said too, James. Though spring forward. But speaking about faith, though, it just brought a question to me, made me question myself. Like, what did I go through to strengthen my faith?
Ooh.
And I remember a situation that I went through. Had to be about 2 years ago when I tore my Achilles.
Yeah, it was almost 2 years ago.
So about 2 years ago. I went through a situation where I tore my Achilles and I could not do absolutely nothing for myself.
Jesus.
While you went to work, I was able to do little stuff around the house, but I remember having this knee scooter, and we have a 2-story home.
Right.
So once I come down the stairs, how am I going to get back up?
Yeah.
How am I going to get back up? So just listening to what Apostle K was saying and just taking that into my own dealing with my own situation, it was the faith that kept me going.
Yeah.
Knowing that I'm going to get through this. Not that I can get through it, but I'm going to get through this.
Yeah.
But it's just having that faith and remaining strong and remaining humble.
Yeah. That's good.
That is good. That's good.
That was all really good. I like the different perspectives. But I'm always in awe when we get reminded again, like, God is with us. God won't leave us.
Yeah.
And that Sunday, it just felt like relief. It felt like, yes, you're in the feast. Don't believe what you see. Believe what you saw. Because, God has shown us what we are to do, where we're supposed to go, even, as a whole, as a body, where we're going. We know that it's going to happen because God is not a liar, right? And I think about how brave Esther was, but in that moment when they were talking about Esther and being a queen, you got to think about how long she prepared for it. It should never have been her, but because she was chosen, she prepared. Like it was like a year of, purity and preparing for that place. And if you think about that, there may be some people that were like, well, March 7th, 8th, and 9th passed, but what if God was preparing us in the year? So what if we didn't take that word? Like, what if this is our year to prepare? Because next year, our testimony on the 9th is going to be we birthed.
Yeah.
Like, we can't let it pass us by, even if we didn't see what we thought we were going to see, you know? So I just feel like it was an opportunity for us to be like, okay, we're marching. Like, this is a promise. This is an error. March is a month of marching. I don't care if it happens on March 31st. We're marching into something this month because I will be like Jacob and wrestle, okay? Like, he's not a God that would lie. And I think that when it comes down from our head and we get to see, like, our leaders just marching forward, going forward, encouraging us and pouring into us, like, who are we not to be uplifted, to pour, to give, to march forward in whatever God is having us march forward in,
Right. What made me think, too, is like when we're at a feast or when you at a restaurant, you have servers. So until you get your food, like, what are you doing during that process. Like even tied in with Apostle Sean, like yesterday, like he told us we step out, but he doesn't show us that middle. So what are we doing until we see our March 7th, our March 8th, our March 9th? Preparing. That's what we're supposed to be doing, so that we don't look at what's going on around us, but we're in preparation with him. Like feasting on his word until we see it come, the manifestation in our life.
That reminds me of that word, the waiting room.
Yes. Oh,
the
yes.
Waiting room, Pastor Rolanda.
Listen to me. If y'all have not seen that series, it's right on YouTube, MBOMI TV. Go and watch it, The Waiting Room. It was awesome. Yeah, that was awesome.
It was good.
Yeah. So talking about what does it mean to us, what we've been feasting on, we've been marching and discussing, but I love how everybody's feasting, right? Yeah. The adults, youth. So our amazing Pastor Malley also taught within the feasting. Yeah. What was your take on his subject or his video before we go watch the video?
Before we watch it, I want to get there because back to Esther, you guys said something that word, it just kept jumping out of me. Process. What are you doing in the middle ground? And when you look at Esther's story, her steps were truly ordered. Yeah. She was chosen, and she had to undergo a process. But back to what you said, Avery, she counted what she was eating. She cut it up. She didn't just eat everything. Right. Yeah. She had to be really wise during her process to really have an ear to God to get the instructions. And it's the same thing for us in our process. Yeah.
Right.
In our process.
The whole reason that we do the Daniel fast is because Daniel did the same thing when he had to race against the Babylonians during his time, and for the king to be the king's advisor, he said, "Can you beat my people?" And they would eat meat and wine and stuff, and all he ate was stuff out of the ground that God had given him, because there was a pride within the meat that the Babylonians had made and the wine that they pressed. Yeah. And so what he ate, only God gave him, right?
Yeah. Listen, Avery. So much nuggets have dropped what you were saying. Wow.
Yes. The keys to the process. That's what that is.
And who's preparing the food?
My goodness.
Yes. Who are you eating from? Right.
Like, isn't that what you asked, though? Isn't that what you ask when you go to get food? You're like, who made the chicken?
Right. Who made the macaroni?
Yes. What grade is this restaurant?
Yes. Come on. That was good, Avery.
Yeah, because because he would have won the race anyways. So if he had eaten the wine and the beef that they had made, they would have said, "Oh, you ate our wine, you ate our cattle."
Oh, come on.
It was because of us. But because he only ate the things that God had given him out of the ground and the water, the fresh water that he had, they could only point to God, his God, the God of the Israelites.
That's good.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's good. And so to go back to Pastor Malley, he gave us this wonderful teaching, and it was from Gideon's story when he was getting ready and he was going to battle. And I really love that. And we're going to let you guys watch the video. But one of the major takeaways for me was don't let fear disqualify you.
Wow. Come on.
When God has spoken the word and you're in that middle ground and you're in that process, don't let fear take you out of position. Yeah. Because what God has said will be.
Will be.
But the only one that can change it is you.
Come on.
The enemy can't come push you out of position. The enemy can't change it, but he can make shadows. We talked about this last time too, how a shadow is just an illusion. It's never as big as it really seems. Right. But you can see those shadows casted on the wall and get yourself out of position. So that was my takeaway from Pastor Malley's teaching is fear, how you cannot let it get you out of position because you're qualified for it. You're qualified for your process. And the process doesn't always feel good. It does not always look good, but it is good because it's going to get you to that expected end of what God said.
That's good.
Yeah. Listen, Miss Cedra have given us a little tease, a little appetizer of what this next video is. So watch the video and then we'll meet us back here to discuss it.
Watch this. I know it's crazy. Watch this, though. God had to trim who he chose. He had to trim all the soldiers. 22,000. Think about all of the characteristics that you may have. Because I'm talking about deliverance here at the end of the day. I'm talking about this. There's something that seems so hard because we understand that the Midianites oppressed the children of Israel. If the Midianites oppressed the children of Israel, that means the Midianites in the spiritual realm are oppressing. What it means to be oppressed is to be locked up, and contained. It's a stronghold. And if the children of Israel, and that translates to God's chosen people, have been oppressed by a stronghold, I'm just trying to teach you how to get free from it and how to break free from it. It's been going across the pulpit for so many times. You can't eat at everybody's table. It's time to do some cuts. Everybody connected to you. He says, send the people home that's trembling with fear. That means so when we go get this 67 acres, if you trembling with fear, if you stuck in doubt, you need to go. It's for the greater picture. Because when God planted in your mind, he planted in your mind to destroy the altars of Baal, to destroy the false coverings. He said, let the people go with fear.
And you saw the video of Pastor Malley just teaching us and telling us that we ourselves can disqualify us. Don't let fear get in the way. We've been talking about faith. We was talking about eating and feasting. So you have to believe in the word that God tells us that we can go forth. We're qualified. We're qualified to sit at this table. We're qualified to feast. And we have to watch what we're eating, what we're feasting on. But don't allow what you see to disqualify you. Come on.
That's so good.
Let us not get distracted to disqualify us. Yeah. What is your take on it, JC? Because I saw you. Like you was getting ready to speak.
I was just getting prepared, though.
I understand.
But it just, every time I listen to you guys speak, Pastor Malley speak, Apostle K, I kind of get selfish though. I just start going into my little shell, and I start, looking at my life where I'm at now and going back over it. And one thing that stuck out to me is prepare myself. Mm-hmm. The biggest way that I think that you can prepare yourself is to crucify your flesh.
Come on.
Yeah. So as I began to crucify my flesh, I started to give myself simple rules though. Sometimes we end up disqualifying ourselves because we think that we aren't good enough, we aren't smart enough. But so I just came up with a few simple rules, and as I began to live by those rules, implement those rules in not only my day-to-day life, but instill those in my kids as well. Like I started to see a difference, and it started preparing us mentally, spiritually, physically, for whatever. For whatever. Yeah. I'm not going to give y'all those rules, though.
I was ready. Listen, we were at the table.
The rules. I give it to you, though.
Yes, I'm like, yes, tell us.
I can tell you at home.
We understand.
I give it to you, though. So a few of the rules that I wrote down was be obedient to God.
Come on.
Don't bend for man.
Yeah.
Don't break for man.
Yeah.
Don't fold for man. Yeah. These rules are so simple that we just, sometimes we just overlook because we all, I used to tell myself, like, I need, just for example, I need Sherelle to tell me that I'm good enough. I need Tanisha to tell me that I'm good enough. I need my wife to tell me. But all I need is God to tell me, hey, you are good enough. I did choose you for this. You are destined for this. Yeah. But one thing about it, and when you're being obedient, is just because he tells you that you are destined for something, it does not mean right now. It does not mean right now. It means that I'm preparing you. You're going through this process. You're going through a qualification. So those was just some of the rules, though. Don't get me hyped up.
We eating at the table on a gauge rig. I love it.
I think with the story of Gideon, especially, there was multiple waves of prunings, right? There was the one where the people who were scared went home, right? Yeah. And then there was a second wave where they went to go drink water. And God had Gideon send home the people that got all the way down to drink the water. And they got too comfortable. They got too lazy. They got too open, right? See, we have to stay prepared, but we can't stay fearful.
Yeah.
Right? So we have to stay on our feet, but we can't allow the enemy to keep us in a state of worry, a state of fear. Right? So it's like the difference between someone running from something, right? Someone's scared of something, right? You have an intruder or something, like you're scared, right? Or a soldier who knows what's going to happen.
Come on.
He knows how to handle it, and he knows that, like, you know, he has confidence that I'm going to win this, right? Because he wouldn't be going into the battle anyways if he didn't have the right. And we can have that confidence through God, but we can't be lazy.
Yeah.
We can't let ourselves be attacked because we're not standing up. Like, we don't have to war anymore.
Right.
But the enemy can still try to infiltrate if we don't continue to wear that armor every day, right? Because there's a difference between going to war and keeping your defenses. We have an active military even though we're not in war, right? We have active defenses even though we're not in war, but we're not attacking. We're not always going out. We don't have to war right now, but we can't leave ourselves open.
Yeah, that's good.
One thing about fear, listen, fear can be a powerful weapon if you let it creep into your mind.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be assured of yourself. You have to be prayed up. Like, seriously, you have to be prayed up to not let fear take over, because it makes you question everything. Like, you know, like, what if this happens? Oh, what do I do if this happens? You can't let that get into you. You have to keep a straight focus. You have to know that God is going to take care of it. You have to know that God is with you. And you just have to you have to be prepared. Like you're saying, you got to be prepared for those kind of things, because if you're not prepared, then it will take you by storm. And you can't you have to weather the storm. You know, you got to tell the storm, like, no, I'm not going to let this knock me off my path or anything like that. I'm going to stay focused. I'm going to be with God. I'm going to keep praying. I'm going to keep living in His Word, and I'm going to live by the example.
Yeah.
You know, and show others that you can be just like that too. Like, you don't have to let your struggles define who you are. You could just let God just push you through. Yeah.
That's good.
Oh, I'm last again. This is fun. I love the story of Gideon, and I was listening to Avery talk, and it really reminded me of Nehemiah. Because he was talking about, you know, you have to be armored up. You have to still be, you can't be fearful. And, you know, if you remember, you know, Nehemiah, he had a lot trying to come up against him, but he got permission, which we heard yesterday. And he got permission to do what he was doing. So he knew, I have God, I have the king over me's permission. I am doing what God told me to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our tools. We're going to have our spear in one hand, and we're going to pray. And I feel like if Gideon's, you know, troops were really meant to be there, then they would have stayed. They would have known, okay, I need to stand up and drink the water. I'm not running with fear if they're really called to the battle, right? Because some people aren't called to the battle. You know, maybe they are supposed to stay at the tent and help, you know, fix the armor. But if that's truly where you're chosen from, then you get into your word, you get your sword, you get your armor, and you check it. You check your armor. When you go to battle, you check your armor, because if it's dinged or if it doesn't fit, like David, you know, he didn't put on the armor because it wasn't his size. It didn't fit him. He didn't need it. He had God. So, you know, while you might read the ESV, that might not, my sword might not work like that. I might need the version that works for me. But I have my weapons, and I'm checking them often. I'm making sure that I'm dressed for the battle. But I don't plan on fighting because God already fought my battles and He already won. But I'm prepared because maybe, you know, JC's having a day where he needs me to stand guard next to him. And he needs me to be on guard so that he can have a moment and he can do what he needs to do, you know, and he needs to go in. So I'm on guard while he can go in, and he's on guard while Avery can go in, and Avery's on guard while James can go in. And, you know, we're there for each other, so often told to us. And I think that that's part of the Gideon story is we know who our battle buddies are. We know who's in the battle with us. MBOMI is strong. Right. MBOMI is that army, right? Yes. So when we look around, we know, okay, you know what? JC's not smiling and goofing around like, yo, what wrong with you? What's going on, you know? Because we know you're supposed to be here. Yeah. We know.
The thing about this ministry that I'm learning is discernment is on 10. Okay, when we're on one accord, it's like you can kind of discern, like, hey, what's going on, sister, or hey, what's going on, brother. It's the love and purity, and I think that's why we're able to strengthen one another. Yeah. And I love what you said because it just reminded me of one of Apostles' message. Is like, what is our position at the table? Yeah. Like as you said, we might not need that right now, but Miss Teacher can do it. Or I'll wait. It's not my turn. It's Tanisha's turn, right? Yeah, it's like, what is your position at the table? And it's okay to celebrate others while they eat.
Yeah, eat your chocolate cake.
Come on, I'll eat my chocolate cake, and it's good. But I just love how the word can be given and it feeds everyone, and like you said, the perspective, like everybody can get a different perspective off that one meal or off that one take. Yeah, I just love that.
It's good.
That reminded me of something was brought up, I think Wednesday or Sunday during morning empowerment. They talked about the parable where they were fighting for the head of the table, right? And how you're supposed to sit at the foot of the table and be brought up to the head. And even when you aren't brought up to the head, you can still be happy for the person that's brought up to the head of the table. Because if you're always at the head of the table, then you start to get resented. And it's not always good to chase the head, chase the going after being next to the top person, because there's a lot of weight that comes with that. There's a lot there's a lot of weight. It's a big mantle. And I'm not saying that the other mantles aren't big. It's just that if you wear a mantle that's not right for you, it will break you. Yeah. Right? Uneven yoke on an oxen is so dangerous because when they pull against it, it can break their necks. Yeah. Right? So that's why you have to wear the mantle that was made for you.
Come on.
I really, really like this. Some good stuff. And you know what really came up in my spirit just now is what we're talking about is table etiquette. That's really what all of this comes full circle to speak to, you know, and we know this, but when you're at the table, you're still in a process. There's still an expected end. But to come together, it's a meeting of the minds together, meeting with your brothers, your sisters in Christ, and to have proper table etiquette and understand. And you said something so key. I can celebrate you. You know, you have that chocolate cake. I need my armor to fit this week. I'm seeing some things. I'm walking through some things, but you have that chocolate cake. It's not for me this week. I'm going to get a extra serving of strength, an extra serving of peace, you know. Yeah. But to understand and have that table etiquette, and it's going to keep pushing you. It's going to keep helping you to press through, you know, as we all continue to press towards the mark of that high call. And it's to be here in BOMI, we are truly at the table. We are truly feasting with one another, encouraging one another, knowing what we can take part in, what we can eat, what we need to kind of, hey, I'm going to push this back.
I'm going to push this back.
And while also understanding I'm still in my process. I'm going to my expected end, you know. And as you celebrate victories along in your process, I can celebrate you and you'll celebrate me as I reach mine. It's truly a beautiful thing.
Yeah. I think, too, when you're in the process and you can still come into the house of God and give glory, like nothing is going on in your life, God see the faithfulness. Because he is a faithful God. So what wouldn't he do for his children? Yes. Like, okay, she's going through this test is going on, but this is the output that she's giving me.
That's so good. That's so good.
Yeah, that is. I just like to say this may be off topic, but y'all know me. I'm always off topic. I always swing my way. But one thing that I always see, a big shout out to Apostle Sean and a big shout out to Apostle K, is we never see them come in discouraged. We never see them come in upset, angry. Not saying that they don't. Not saying that they aren't they aren't upset or, they have their own issues going on at home. But I like what they do. I like the fact that they know how to separate the two. When it comes time to support, when it comes time to give, to push, they know how to separate the two. And we have a strong, a good following. God first, of course. Our spiritual, our fleshly leaders, Apostle K and Apostle Sean. But I love it. I love it, though. You don't see that too often. You got some people, they preach on how they feel.
Oh, that's good.
They preach on how they feel. So if they come in messed up, and that disturbs our spirit. That disturbs, our intake. So, regardless of what they're going through, they never come in and they never put it off on us. Every time I come in on a Sunday, on a Wednesday, if they here on a Saturday, their spirit is always high. Their vibe is always high. And I just, I appreciate it. I thank y'all so much. We love y'all, though.
It's good. It's amazing to have pure and clean vessels. You don't got to worry about picking up your glass and it's like, what is that?
What is that?
It's diluted with your pain. It's diluted with your disappointment. We don't have to worry about that.
Come on.
I love that. That was a good point.
One thing that I appreciate about this church is the accessibility to everybody. How you can be, everybody's accessible. So, when it comes to the congregation, people in the congregation, you can just talk to anybody, share your feelings or, just tell them, what's on your heart. I just love that about this church. And, it goes from the congregation to the leaders, they're accessible. They're not like, oh, I'm too busy or anything or not right now or anything. They take time out to listen to what you have to say or how you feel. And I just love that about this church because there's been plenty of other places where, you got to basically make an appointment to talk to somebody. And you can't do people like that because if that's heavy on their heart now, they have to get that out. And that's called purging. They have to get that out. You can't let somebody hold that in because now that's when things just creep in. You start questioning things and everything, and now you're just all over the place. You don't know whether you're coming or going, and then you just get all kind of mixed feelings about the church and everything. So I just really appreciate how this church is just open. It's an open door policy.
God is an open door policy.
That reminds me of when Jesus was preaching and the children tried to run up to Jesus and the disciples were like, no, he's busy right now. But Jesus was like, let them come. Let them. They want to learn. They want to. I feel like our apostles have that same spirit where they have it like you said, an open door policy where people can come and they can learn and they can hear and they can taste and see, right? And so they can talk to our apostles. Visitors come and talk to the apostles all the time. There's no hurdles to jump through, really. It's like I can, if I want to talk directly to the apostle, I have to wait in the line because everybody wants to talk to the security apostle.
Security ain't playing that. We ain't playing that.
And I think that's just so beautiful that we have apostles that are willing to do that. And they come in, and you can tell when they worship, they're worshiping for themselves too, right? It's sometimes you can feel like especially at other churches, you can feel like the leaders disconnected from it, right? But when our apostles, they really feel it. They get into that word. Apostle Sean, he'll sing. He can sing, y'all. He's starting to sing.
He's getting better.
He's getting better. And they're worshiping for them. They're worshiping with us. They're not just worshiping for us. They're worshiping with us because they get their breakthroughs and their stuff the same way we do.
I love that. I love that. That's so beautiful.
Lots of wonderful things that we've been talking about. And you said something so key, Avery, worship. So we just watched the video of one of our very own youth pastors speaking to us from the story of Gideon. But let's speak about our other youth pastor, Pastor Kanair Grayson. We have an event coming up March 28th. You do not want to miss it, and it is Raw 3. The theme of this one is rivers. Y'all, I'm super excited.
Super excited.
You just never know what you can expect that for the Spirit of God to be here.
Yes.
During a Raw service, that is what you can expect. Does anyone want to, what are your takeaways from Raw?
I think it was Pastor K's second Raw. She was pregnant up there, and she was explaining what worship was to her. And in that moment, it's like it just made sense because I never really could put words to why maybe I, didn't pray a certain way or do things a certain way. But when I worship, it's like, it's just like God's there. I'm there. I mean, it's just, it doesn't matter what's going on. I can worship and it just breaks everything off. And she just was so transparent and vulnerable in that moment. And that will forever be in my mind. That will forever be a moment that shifted, changed. She gave us the vernacular for worship. And I feel like she doesn't just, sing. It's not just another singer. She literally teaches us even through prophetic flow. She teaches us. She educates us. It's like she'd be sitting with God and be like, okay, explain to me what you meant when you put worship in the Bible, because out here they doing whatever they want, God, and I need you to come through me so I can give real worship. I feel like we're worshiping like the angels.
Come on.
I feel like she leads us like the angels get led, and I'm just like, okay, this is what he means. So sometimes you turn on the radio, you be like,
right,
that ain't it.
That ain't it.
So I'm in expectation that this is 3, and we know 3 is resurrection. We know 3 is like a big number at MBOMI. We say 3 all the time. So we talking about marching in. I'm marching in, out, sideways, upways. That's my expectation.
And the theme, rivers. Like, come on. If anybody don't know, if you watch any of our service, Pastor K have a prophetic flow like no other. She's in tune with God when it comes forth, when it comes over the congregation. It's like, yes, I want to bow with the angels at his feet. Holy, holy, holy. She takes us, and then she could take us in. She could take us in on worship, and she could take us in on praise. Like, what we doing today?
Both.
Both.
Right.
What? Because she took us in Sunday. Like, listen, I'm excited for Raw 3. Raw 3. I'm excited too.
And if you've like watched as Pastor K has grown over the years and stuff, and like she puts everything aside during worship, no matter what's happening, no matter how much work she has to do, she puts everything aside, and she does that so she can lead the congregation in worship.
Right.
And like it's just all of a sudden it's just you and God. You just listening, like you praising and stuff with everybody else, but all of a sudden it's just you and God.
And him.
I like the simple fact that Pastor K is genuine. You can feel it. You can sense it. Even her facial expressions. It just says it all. This would be my first one that I attended. My apologies. But I'm excited. I'm expecting. I'm expecting a pull. I'm expecting a push.
Come on.
I'm expecting a lot.
Yes. And God gonna show up too.
He's gonna show up.
He's gonna show up.
I'm gonna have a pocket full of tissue that night.
Let's bring a cloth.
Right.
MBOMI cloths are required.
Yes.
Tissue
and sheets. Just go ahead and bring it. Bring forth. Just grab a space, a wall, or anything. At this point.
Absolutely.
At this point.
I love Miss 2 and Through.
That's a saying that she says to and through. She means it too.
Even Case know how to worship from Pastor K. Like, he can. He get down for real.
It's beautiful. It truly is. It's what it takes me through. We've all, been in service, and it's like, praise and worship. I just wanted to, like, the entire service. That is what Raw is.
Right.
Raw is that heightened moment of praise and worship, and it just does not end. And it's making that atmosphere cushiony. The Bible praises of his people. He rests. That atmosphere is cushiony for him. He kicks his head back and, props his feet up, and everything that you need is in the atmosphere. You don't want to miss Raw. Avery, did you have something?
Yeah, and I think we said it earlier, but it's prophetic, right? So it's not just what they decided to sing, right? And you'll come out of worship like, oh my goodness, and you'll get revelations from just worship. Right, and you'll be like my mom said, she educates us just through worship. And you'll come out changed. You'll come out. It's definitely an experience. I can't wait. I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Listen, it's a few songs that I'm like, oh, I gotta get that. then you'll listen to the real version. I'm like, no, Pastor K needs to record ASAP because that is not how it went, right? So it's like, no, I want that version. So I'll go back to YouTube and just listen to the service because that's how awesome it is.
It is. That like some of the prophetic flow, it lives rent-free in my head. When I'm walking through my day and going through, I go back to the prophetic flow. Love the songs, but it's something when you tap into that prophetic flow, when you tap into the raw word, and that is raw worship.
And I love how she brings back like flows from other services. Like, look what the Lord has done, and the devil isn't stopping nothing. And you know they're genuine because God gave them to her, and so she uses them in other songs, and she weaves songs together, and then the band follows her because she's a psalmist. Because they're all linked by the Holy Spirit.
It's a sound. It's a special sound. It's a sound.
So listen, we have all talked about it, but we want you guys to see it. Let's take a look at this clip from one of our Raw services.
Come on. Come on. You gotta believe it's coming. It's here. Come on. I came to tell you, it's not just a concert tonight. It's an encounter. Come on. You shall receive manifestation. Heavens are opening for you right now. Come on. I dare you to start receiving. Come on. We just unlocked heaven, y'all. I see stuff falling. I see it. So I dare you to grab it right now. Grab it. Grab it. Grab it. Grab it. Grab it. Grab it. Lift your shot. Grab it. Grab it. Grab it. Grab it. Grab it. Grab it, 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 let's shine, grab it, 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 it's here, it's here, it's here, it's here, say grab it, it's here. There's no more waiting. There's no more waiting. There's no more waiting. I came to tell you what you've been waiting on. It's here now. It's here now. It's here now. It's here now. There's no more waiting. No more waiting. No more waiting. No more waiting. You had before God, come on. You know your petition that you had before the Lord. Hey, as we touch you with our, we receive manifestation. As we touch you with our faith, we receive manifestation. What was it?
So you saw what you can expect from a Raw service. We've talked about it. You saw it. We want to see you in the building March 28th at 7 p.m. Y'all, I had fun tonight.
I did.
We had some amazing dialogue. just the way it came full circle. It was truly, truly beautiful. But it doesn't stop here. You can stay connected. You can follow us on Facebook, New Beginnings Outreach Ministries International. You can also find us on Instagram, NBOMI Cola. That's NBOMICOLA. And shout out to our ATL family. You can also find us on NBOMI/ATL. And you can also watch us live. The many services that we're talking about tonight, we stream them live on YouTube, NBOMI TV. tell us how they can sow if they want to sow.
Ways to sow. Yes. So you can go directly to our website, mbomi.org, or you can do Giveify, MBOMI New Beginnings Outreach Ministry International, or our Zelle. That's www.mbomi, 0, 9 @gmail.com. Ways to sow. Listen, we had fun.
Yes.
From our MBOM family, we love you.